good morning. In the place where we work, sometimes we get frustrated, right? And sometimes we look so cool, and sometimes we don't look so comfortable. And at times we become so moody and we become so irritated. It's because of so many reasons. So sometimes we must be wondering what must be the reason or what must be some reasons behind your irritating behavior. So the place of work should be very peaceful. It's supposed to be a quiet, serene place where we enjoy our work that we are dedicated to and committed to. But are we really enjoying the place where we are working? So, have you ever thought about the reasons why you must be facing so many frustrations and so many problems or problematic or irritating situations? So, if you have ever thought about it, then definitely you would have come very near to the concept that we are going to discuss right now. Yes, you're right. You need to understand the behavior, right? The behavior of what? The behavior of animals? No, certainly not. The behavior of people we are working with. So that is nothing but we need to have workplace etiquette. So welcome to the session which is exclusively on this workplace etiquette. So I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. I'm here to help you with some ethics and some concepts or theoretical principles or the relative points to remember, especially when we are working in any workplace or in any place of work. Right. So, what is this workplace etiquette? So, workplace etiquette. So, both are different. Yes, both are different, but as under one umbrella, we can bring these two things into one thing or these two different issues as one thing, that is one workplace and etiquette. So you need to have this etiquette. So the first question I have for you is, what is this etiquette? So you mean some kind of discipline or a kind of commitment you have, a kind of nearer. You are very near to what we are going to discuss. But exactly, etiquette is something that you need to have or possess, kind of behavior you need to have, or a kind of discipline, a set of rules and regulations that you need to train up your body and mind or soul. So if you can tune up or if you can really train up your mind, soul and body together with this kind of mindset, then definitely you are in place. So I mean, sometimes we also refer this term or by different other names, this concept as like professional etiquette. So the professional etiquette is something that you really have to possess when you are working in any organization or in any institution or in any workplace that you are really committed to. So quite often time what we do is we either waste time or create misunderstanding. So I'm here to explain you the concept of this workplace etiquette, and that will really benefit you to become a better person. So in case if you're a person with a kind of like disorganized behavior or which you really not really careful, and you haven't taken care of certain things when especially when you're working either in your home or in workplace or wherever it could be. Etiquette is very important as a student or as a professional person or a professional, a kind of like boss or manager or a teacher or lecturer or professor or a boss or principal, whoever you are, or a student also. If you are a student, you need to have this etiquette, especially when you are working among people. You are not there to behave for yourself, right? So you are there mingling with others and you are coordinating and cooperating with each other. as a team or in a team. So certainly your behavior or your etiquette or your way, your style of behaving or your style of behavior or your style of manners or your manners, whatever you call it or by any other name, that will definitely affect your colleagues' life, either in a good way or a bad way. So whenever I'm talking about this discipline and all, never take it for granted that I'm talking about only a bad behavior. No, it is also a very good way of disciplining yourself. So could be a good etiquette or a bad etiquette. So etiquette is something that you really behave or you train up your mind or kind of mannerism or a kind of way that you need to have. So workplace etiquette is something very essential that everybody must take care of. So, but as I have put it on the screen, we say we really do it, right? So either we waste a lot of time or create misunderstanding. That's because, even like give an unfavorable impression. So about ourselves. So how is this possible? Like you must be wondering, right? We never talk about ourselves or not even our colleagues or not even our friends who they never complain about us. Then how are you saying that we're conveying a very unfavorable and bad impression about us? So I could say it just because the way you behave, so that will communicate your attitude and behavior. So it could be a very low grade employee till a high grade employee, everybody displays this kind of behavior, good behavior at the same time bad behavior. So you need to have it. It is not only limited or it is not confined to very higher officials as of like manager, boss or general manager. No, it is also important for all employees or professionals or any person who are in job mode are that is something that you really need to take care of. So we convey unfavorable impression or very bad or negative or kind of like misrule we say kind of like rude behavior is also conveyed. It's because of our etiquette. So if we are not bad etiquette, so if you are not really careful of this, we are conveying a very bad signal there. So as a result, we have to reap a lot of things as because of our misconduct. So you need to have the way you need to conduct yourself, right? Yourselves or yourself, whatever. So now, especially this kind of behavior begins with your, introduction or the way you introduce yourself or the way you begin your career in your workplace. So right from the day one to till the time you work there, the day is counted or your behavior is counted. You know why? You might say that no, for some days I behave so well and for some days I don't behave well. No, that's not acceptable. It's because wherever you work, definitely you have to have this kind of good etiquette, right? So, see, there are so many people, different aged people, people from different cultures, people from different backgrounds, religious backgrounds, or kind of cultural background, or social background, financial background, educational background. So, from different backgrounds, people hail. So they behave differently. You need to have this kind of behavior. So if you are the only person that's working from one different place, and then you have to be more careful. And you might think that it's okay, we are all people, we are all humans, and we all understand each other. No, that should not be an exception for you, because that will create a very kind of like that will give a very bad signal, and that will really trouble and sometimes that irks someone who is sitting next to you. That is why you should not create. And I tell you, my dear friends or my dear students, whoever is listening to me, I tell you, our behavior will certainly have an impact on others. the result of that would be, their good response or the bad response. Or if all the time they are very kind of like, biting their teeth, and they are very annoyed, and they never have a smile on their lips. It's all sometimes might be because of our etiquette, bad etiquette. So that is why we need to have a wonderful etiquette in our workplaces, right? So what is this? Adhering to the correct etiquette at workplace is very important. And right, so many employees, as in my observation, they do not carry this etiquette. It's just because they are ignorant. I would say they are not innocent, but they are ignorant, and they're highly unaware. They are not even aware of all these characteristics that they need to have, and they don't display the professional etiquette, and as a result they trouble others. Many a time, even I observe personally, when they do not know how to behave, that will really hurt me, and I do not know, or sometimes I do not know how to respond to them. And at this see, nobody will train you up at that moment, or in that position, because you are not children. If you suppose I can teach my children or students in class, but whereas if you are working professionals, how will others teach you? And even if others teach you, will you really accept their behavior or their what they have done towards you? No, certainly not. You say that, am I teachable? Or is it like, do you really teach me? And how is that I'm looking in your eyes or before your eyes? So that's how you start complaining and grumbling. So that's not the right age or not right time to learn. So before you step into your career, this is something that you really have to have. So I'm talking about this kind of professional etiquette. That's very important, and that my play is for the people. So that is, from this placement perspective also, I want to emphasize the students who are appearing engineering graduates is all this upcoming startups. Okay, so this these people who students or graduates, engineering graduates, who are going to step into their new, or they begin their new chapter by entering some jobs, wonderful jobs as software engineers or different programmers. So this is an important call to all the people who are going to begin your career. So in our placements, we are here to teach you, and this is also part of your soft skill, and this is very important component in our soft skill, right? So adhering to the correct etiquette at workplace is very important. So you have to abide, you have to listen, you have to kind of obey, or you have to give up, or you have to submit, you have to give to, or you have to give in yourselves to this certain set of rules and regulations. I'm not talking about the rules and regulations of any workplace that you are really working in, but the rules and regulations or manner or way of behavior that one should possess on his own, kind of like personal, social, kind of professional set of trait. Okay, these traits or characteristics are very essential in any professional setup, right? So it's very important, as we have just mentioned, and it has a bearing on your interaction, especially with your co-workers. So when you are working with, your colleagues, that will have a very bad and dangerous effect on them and your interrelationships. Okay, and your relationships are certainly going to be affected by the way you have carry your etiquette, which is why having a professional good etiquette is essential, and that is undeniable fact that you have to acknowledge that this is a 90%, and over. If I'm not wrong, if I say more than 90% of working professionals in our place or in any country, they form majority just because they do not know how to have this professional etiquette. And we observe in some foreign countries, they do give importance to this professional etiquette. So I want all the engineering graduates, as from, from this placement perspective, I'm here to help you with this kind of, concept, or with this kind of input. So this will have certainly a very negative or a very positive impression or impact on your colleagues works life also. Not only you suffer, but at the same time, even your colleagues also suffer. So behaving in a professional way at workplace goes a long way in ensuring a peace. Yes, this is a very true point, right? So that will really ensure a peace of mind, because if we are really ignorant of what we are doing it, and certainly we disturb others, and they are working very seriously, and with our irritating behavior and with our ignorance, we certainly show this kind of very negative way of behavior to others. So this will either ensure peace or peacelessness in our workplace, either to our colleagues and also to us, because we behave in certain way and they respond, and because they respond, we also kind of again retort, and this goes hand in hand, and this is cyclical. So, and you need to realize in the beginning itself, my dear students, or my dear working professionals, please do take care of this, right? So workplace etiquette is something that where we meet people, right, for the first time. And for the first time when we meet, and that's where we really try to find, or we make an impression about ourselves, right? So professional capacity we need to take care of, right? So some points that I have brought for you is those are very important. So let me draw your attention to these aspects, right? The power of introduction. So at your workplace, when you are beginning your career, so if you think that during your work career, or your work job, or your work life, I'm not talking about the time where you continue your job and you lend your ears to this kind of talk. No, certainly not. But I'm asking you to observe this kind of behavior before you begin your career as professional software professionals, or hardware professionals, or as engineering graduates, as new novice engineers. Okay, now you might ask, okay, we've already started our career, and now how do you help us by your session? Yes, if at all you are not aware of all these things, and certainly better late than never, right? Okay, it's okay if you are learning all this late, instead of learning never ever in your life. So you can start this and you can continue with that. But for novice engineers, it is must. It is a compulsory the kind of discipline that you need to have it at the beginning itself. So the power of introduction is very important. For example, if I'm starting my day, okay, my career in my workplace, so I am a new software engineer and I have come up and I got selected, and my principal or boss selected me for that particular job, and then now I'm going to start my day one, right? So the day one I enter this kind of new environment, I should be introducing myself to the colleagues that who are already working in. So how is my introduction? So how is my behavior? You believe me or not, from day one your behavior is evaluated. Even if they are not well organized, even if they are not professionals who have this good etiquette, but still your behavior is observed, and definitely you can impact positively on their lives, okay, by your behavior. It's okay even if they are not, but certainly they will imitate your behavior. And so they become imitators, and you will be the sole reason for that. So in the beginning itself, you have to take care of all these aspects. The first thing you need to take care is like introducing yourself. So how do you introduce? So the way you like, or you say hi like this, or you use any kind of body language. No, you should not be doing that. Your gestures, your postures, the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you use your hands, the way you use hand gestures, the way you use the way you give your hand, for shake. Okay, you shake your hand, right? So you give a shake, you give your hand and you introduce yourself, right? So that is very important. These are all things that will really make an impression, good impression about yourself. So the power of introduction is something that you need to acknowledge and you need to take care of. So we introduce ourselves as well as others in the group. Sometimes if I am a novice engineer or a novice work professional, I have to introduce myself. And sometimes I have to introduce others also. If I'm not a novice professional, and I have to introduce some others. So the way we behave, the way we introduce is very important, my dear viewers. So you have to do that. So in a nutshell, okay, very briefly, we have to introduce them in a very polite manner, appropriate manner. Do not use other slang or say a kind of informal language when you are introducing others to your colleagues, or when you are introducing yourself to others. So it's very important. It should be very appropriate and it should be very formal in our tone. Okay, we need to be very formal in our tone, at the same time in our body language and the dress we wear and the kind of hairstyle we have and the kind of different kind of like watches we wear, right? And also the complete body should be, or body style or dress, or like the way we get ready, everything should be taken care of. We cannot go to a workplace just like we got ready for a party. So we need to have sober dress for that. So all these are part of etiquette. So, and many percent, as I've already mentioned, more than 90% of them do not know how to have this workplace etiquette. So come with me to learn more things, very important things in this concept of workplace etiquette. So this handshake is very important. So this handshake should be very firm, right? You have to give firm, and that will show your personality. And you cannot do like this or you cannot do like this. You have to give your handshake, and the way you put your hand together very firmly also talks about yourself. See, you have to do that, and you have to perform when somebody gives handshake. And how do you respond? It depends again on your culture, the way you carry your culture with you. And in different countries they bow down, or sometimes they, and in many places or in many countries they just give handshake and they just put their arms around. So depending upon the culture, you can use any one of those. But in case they give handshake, or in case if you have to give a handshake, you have to keep your arm or fist very firmly and in a proper way, and you can wave your hand too. So that's very important. And also the way you put your legs, firm, and you stand erect, and the way you use your hand gestures, that's very important, right? Also, you sometimes in some places you exchange your business cards as way of your introduction. So when you introduce yourselves, you exchange your business cards. So that's very important. So and the way you give, you have to give that by holding it in both hands, okay, and extending towards the other person. You do not carry it very loosely, or you do like this, or you do keep like this. Now you have to do like this. So that is something you have to keep your hands together, and the way you do it. So it is not to be given by one. That is very important. And how many of you know this? How many of you are following this? Now this is the time for you to reflect whoever it is. If you are a novice engineering graduate, working professional, or you've already an experienced, a senior, great manager, whoever you are, it's time for you to reflect, because it is time for you to check and reflect on your personality, and it's time for you to develop your conduct. So, and in case you say, no, I'm a senior professor with a lot of experience, and it's up to you, you reap the consequences. So it's always good to reflect, ponder over the issues that we really have to correct ourselves. Right, next, meeting etiquette. So this is another form of etiquette. Same etiquette under this umbrella, same umbrella. You have this meeting etiquette also. What is this meeting etiquette? So meeting etiquette is something like you attend meetings, right? You attend meetings. So how should be your behavior? How should be your discipline? How should be your behavior, or your style of behavior? So that is very important. So you need to know. So for example, a meeting is scheduled. So if you have to have a good workplace etiquette, the first thing to follow is to be on time. To be on time. So you should be on time. So either you are a teacher or any working professional, that is very important. Sometimes what happens is, the meeting, the manager, the boss, says 9:30 p.m. or a.m. or 10:30 a.m. or 10 a.m. is a meeting time. So you attend there half an hour late or 5 minutes late. See, 5 minutes to half an hour conveys the same impression, or it talks a lot about you. If you are a person with great this quality, punctuality, of a person of good punctuality, you have to have this kind of habit. You have to habituate yourself, or for in any exceptional case, that's okay. Or if you are unable to be there on time, so if you are unable to be there on time, give an excuse, give them reason why you are late, unless they be quiet. So in case if you draw their attention, definitely make sure you give a reason, or else you don't have to disturb the whole meeting if the meeting has already started. If they are waiting, for example, if your manager or boss, they're all waiting for you, for example, if they're waiting for you, then you give them the reason for your being late. Or if they're not looking, or if they've already started the meeting, then you don't have to wait and start. Right, you have to continue. You can continue your your work. So the first thing you have to be mindful of is to be on time. That is very important. And then have a notepad and pencil. Many times we do is we just go and we just enter the place without carrying a pen or a notebook. So we need to carry a pen and a notebook, a small notebook, when we attend meetings. So that shows our a kind of great disciplined commitment, that we really are committed people, that we really are very focused, and we are very attentive people. So, and also that conveys our that we are systematic and organized people. So you don't have to write volumes and volumes when you carry a notebook and pen with you, but it's okay if you can just jot down, you can pen down a few points or important ideas that are delivered in your meeting. So have a notepad and a pencil or a pen. Next thing you have to have is have documents related to the agenda. So the meeting, the agenda of the meeting, right? So whatever is what is the agenda of that particular meeting, of that scheduled meeting. So you carry your agenda in the form of leaflet or in any brochure. So that's very important. And after they ask you and you say, oh, I forgot, so that conveys a very bad impression. So that shows that you do not have a workplace etiquette. So even if you follow all the principles or ways of good etiquette, but still you do not follow one or two, that again gives a very bad impression on your personality. So try to follow or try to have all those when you are when you attend, or when you attend a very a formal meeting or formal meetings, right? Next, take notes. You don't have to write a lot, but you have to pen down, as I've already mentioned, you can pen down some important points, right? Next thing that you really have to take about is remain alert. Be alert. Be alert. Do not look sleepy. Do not look drowsy. Okay, sometimes we doze away, and sometimes we fall asleep, and sometimes we just keep our pens in our ears, and we look here and there. That conveys a very bad way of bad behavior from your side. You have to be alert, so you have to be carry a very good posture when you are in a meeting. So all this, to be on time, have a notepad and pencil, and then have a document related to your agenda, writing down the points and remaining alert. These are all important, and they're part of meeting etiquette, right? So, and some more things that you need to have is like in a workplace, in your workplace are like this. You have to answer questions confidently. That is also part of your workplace etiquette. So whatever are the questions, they are not going to look at how accurate you are, but how confident you are. That is very important. So as working professionals, you be confident. It's like if you are very unclear and you look very hazy, and that's not very clear for you, and that throws a very that creates a very bad impression on you. So which is why you have to be very careful. Next, also ask relevant questions in a meeting or in a workplace organization where you have to speak. So do not ask irrelevant questions, my dear learners or my dear viewers. This is a very common problem that we see. Sometimes the discussion is on about a new project, for example, how we need to a new machine that we are going to start, and all of a sudden you talk about the previous day meeting, right? Or you talk about earlier results. So something irrelevant topic should be avoided. Yes, you can talk if you have any queries. You can do off the meeting, right? You can raise those questions only after the meeting. You can talk to that person in person, and personally, but you don't have to talk about all other irrelevant the things that which is being discussed. Okay, so irrelevant questions should be avoided, and present your viewpoint, but be ready to discuss and accept others' ideas. This is very important. You give your viewpoint. Don't talk about irrelevant things, but when it comes to when the turn is yours, you have to present your viewpoint. You're not appreciating you're not there to appreciate somebody else's viewpoints all the time. Yes, certainly you can appreciate in 1-2 sentences, but the primary thing that you need to take care of is that, like, how well you present your argument. You have to present your argument. That's very important. Okay, also make sure you accept others ideas, so that is also very important. Next, another important, and sometimes like we are very narrow minded, and we are very negative minded people. We never have this kind of broad thinking and broad mind. We never accept others' views. We always think we are right, and we don't approve others' thoughts. So that is something that should be avoided. You have to be broad-minded and just think and think about others' points also, so that you can widen your thinking. So this is very important. Okay, next. Do not continue talking at length. And this is very commonly observed, especially in a meeting when you are discussing. You tend to speak a lot in your turn. Okay, if that is my turn, and if I have to discuss, or if I have to present my view, I talk a lot, and at length I keep talking. That is very bad, and that's unruly a way of projecting yourself. So I have to confine my talk or limit my talk to a few minutes, or the time that is allotted for us, and then we have to stop and pass on the opportunity or the chance to others. That is also very important, right? Next, do not interrupt others. We have to finish our viewpoint, and pass on the chance or mic to others, and please don't interrupt when they are. If you have any question, let them finish and raise your questions only after everybody finishes talking. So you can raise your hand and you can put forth your point. So but then do not interrupt others. That is very important. Next, take care of your body language. This is very important, my dear viewers, because I'm a great I'm a good observer of different people, like their behavior. I get really, so I feel very sorry and I get very disappointed when I see very higher officials or senior people, or students who are educated, or who are graduates who are educated, behaving very badly, not having or not following proper conduct. Okay, their misconduct shows they are not working professionals. So you have to take care of your body language. You use your hands anywhere? No, that's not right. The way you use your gestures and your attentiveness, or everything is understood by your body language. Showing your fingers like that, or keeping your fingers or a hand or fist on your face, all these things, and the way you move your hand, the way you kind of like show your body language will convey a very will convey a lot about you. So you have to take care of all these things when you are in your workplace. Next, so your behavior at work is very important. So how is your behavior with senior colleagues? With You have to be more polite. Of course, you have to be polite with all, and especially when you are talking to your senior colleagues, you have to be more formal and more polite. Okay, and etiquette with women. You have to show courtesy to women in all matters. Sometimes this men, sometimes they don't show proper they don't give respect, or don't they are not very polite to women in workplaces. So you have to have this, and also women should respect men. So even they should have a very good way of talking to men. So both vice versa, it should be both vice versa. So you have to have this kind of good etiquette. And it is not proper etiquette to extend your hand to a lady for a handshake unless she extends her hand. So for example, you are going to meet a person for the first time in your workplace, and if that's an opposite gender, or okay, if she's a lady, never offer your hand just like that until and unless she offers her hand first. So that is also not very acceptable. You have to be very mindful of that. Next, so you have to adhere to office rules and or organization or institutions rules and regulations. So follow the prescribed rules and regulations. Your dress code, or your how you have to work, all these things. Your break time, never go before, don't chit chat before the break time, and there's some time for you to talk and eat and relax for sometimes, but don't go beyond the hours. That's not proper workplace. And also leave procedure, you have to have this kind of leave procedure also, and also the dress code you need to follow. That is very important. So until and unless you have this, that you cannot be a person of good etiquette. Okay, so you have to have this discipline. Basic rules of discipline should be followed. Okay, reporting procedure and timings, way you report come, and the way you communicate your problems or a protocol, all these things you have to adhere. Okay, you have to follow all this, obey all this, to all these rules and regulations. Next, so personal etiquette is also very important. So that's something that is very much noticed by people. Like, you need to take utmost very good care of all these things. Like, hygiene is very important. Sometimes they are very untidy. Some people are very untidy, and that create very discomfort. That create this bad feeling towards you. So you have to groom properly. All these things are, you should be very sober, sober minded. At the same time, sober dress should be worn off. You cannot dress up just like you are in a party you are attending. So need some kind of weird colors, bright and kind of like dazzling colors should be avoided as dress. Okay, so you have to have this kind of, you have to be neatly groomed. And also table manners is very important. When you are offered a cup of tea, or when you are at a meeting, and how you take it, like you say thank you to a person, and then very politely you take it, you do not grab it with your hand. So all these table manners should be followed by any work official, and 90% of work professionals do not have this kind of work etiquette. It's just because of unawareness. So you have to be very careful. Okay, so for example, like use office utilities, organization utilities for office work, but not for your personal work, right? So for example, you are offered kind of like internet, right? Or kind of like some nice facilities. Do not use that for your personal, don't carry it to your homes. That is unprofessional. You have to use it for your college or work offices purposes only. Don't do your personal work there. Okay, do not take away various office items like stationery and all to your to your houses, or don't take home all these things. That's very bad etiquette. Do not do personal work on the internet. Do not watch movies, or do not do your personal stuff with the internet that's provided to you in your workplace. So that's until and unless that is extremely urgent and very important. So all this should be, and my dear viewers, I tell you, all these are counted part of your workplace etiquette. And you might say, no, these are not very important. No, they are very important, and that conveys a lot about you, right? And also you should know travel etiquette. Travel etiquette is also important, especially on your business work. Again, related to your profession, you have to, for example, if you are given some money to be spent, okay, you have to do it only related to college or related to any office work, but not spend your money, okay, only to the amount that is permitted, right? And also you have to keep a record of all your bills, expenditure, all the receipts, okay, and documents. You have to have that kind of track of record of what you are doing it, how you are spending it. That's very important, right? So for example, if you're also traveling with a colleague, okay, you have to be very clear about sharing and accommodation and expenditure. You have to be very clear before you start all these things, otherwise they get offended, right? Also, so that's why, so a lot of time you spend your life in your workplaces. So that is that, more than your homes or houses you spend here. So your life, professional life, is very important. So that kind of space should be there, so with the neat and personal touches. Okay, so you have to have this, okay, it's you have to keep the place surrounding very neat and clean. You cannot just spread the things around. So that also conveys your, okay, so the way you handle things, the way you talk to others. So this workplace etiquette is missing in 90% offices or workplaces. So I now feel that you would definitely follow that. Okay, so you have to make sure that that is very important. And for example, if somebody has not invited you for a meeting, wait until they invite you, until you get a call, or until you are given an offer. Do not hurriedly ask the person, talk about it. So that conveys a very bad etiquette. Okay, don't interrupt people on the phone. Okay, don't you have to have a very very nice way of talking to people over phone. Okay, so that is also very important. So, and also in your workplace, sometimes you might talk on your phone. Personally, you take personal work phone calls. That's very important. You should not entertain such things. You have to limit unless it is very urgent. Try to work more and talk less. So that's, and especially when there is the door is open and you speak a lot, you have to have go to your own personal space, attend your calls, which are very important, and finish the call. And that's also important. point to be noted. Also, learn and when where it is appropriate to use your cell phone. That's very important. Also, food consumption. So you cannot have your food anytime or any place away. And sometimes, sometimes food which smells strongly, that should be avoided, because that might distract others who are very focusing on their work. So this all these things should be taken care of. So I now seriously believe that you will be, working professionals having this, by following this kind of workplace etiquette, and definitely become very good working professionals or work professionals in your workplaces. Hope you have understood and have learned some important aspects from this session. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.